everyone, welcome again to Checkpoint. I'm really excited to have you watch this week. How have you been? I hope you have been good. All right, so welcome to Checkpoint. Today we're going to be having a very interesting topic, and I can't wait to share it with you. So please do me a favor, share the link, start a watch party, subscribe in the button below, and also press the notification button so that you can get new content from us once it arrives. It's going to be powerful. Thank you so much for all you do for us at Checkpoint. Thank you for your likes. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for the questions you ask. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you for sharing our videos. And because of you, this message is going to the ends of the earth, and we are so grateful. Thank you for everything, and I want you to also do well to invite people for this particular episode. It's going to be epic, and I'm sure you're going to be blessed. So go ahead, let everyone know, and I'll be right back. All right, welcome once again to Checkpoint. So today we have a very interesting topic for you. And today our topic is simply 15 things you should never say to your spouse. 15 things you should never, ever say to your spouse. Many of us are in the habit of always saying the wrong things. And we have to know this, that words are powerful. With words, nations have gone to war. With words, places have been destroyed. With words, marriages have fallen apart. With words, people have even died. So I'd like you to know the 15 things you should never ever say to your spouse. When you develop this attitude of knowing what you should never ever say to your spouse, you will have a beautiful marriage. You will have a very wonderful relationship with your spouse. Let me tell you this. Words are like bullets that when they pass through the nozzle of any gun, they can't come back anymore. So when you shoot a gun and the bullets pass through the nozzle, they can't get fixed back through the nozzle. All right, because they have been ejected. And when you eject your words, they're like those bullets from the gun. It will shoot a target and it will never ever be taken back. So please don't say what you don't mean in your marriage. Don't say what you don't mean to your spouse. That is a very wrong way of relating with your spouse. So I want to encourage you, always say what you mean and mean what you do say. All right? So, and sometimes some of these words are not spoken verbally. All right, so you may see a number of points I've been making today. Some of them are not spoken verbally. Some of them are implied by our actions. Some of these words and sentences are implied by the way we behave, by our actions. So while we talk about 15 things you should never say to your spouse, it is possible you are not saying them with verbal words. It's possible you are saying them with non-verbal language or with your body language. So there are several ways you can communicate the same thing, which is not okay to say to your spouse. I hope you're ready. All right, let's go. Point 1. Never say to your spouse, I prefer my ex to you. That's not right. Never say to your spouse, I prefer my ex to you. Now, like I said earlier, it's possible you're not saying these words verbally. It's possible you're saying them with non-verbal language, but you're still saying them all the same. Don't come to the point where you begin to prefer your ex to your spouse. That's a terrible thing to do, all right? So I understand your ex may have been better in bed. I understand that. Your ex may have been able to make you laugh more, but you cannot prefer your ex to your spouse. Your spouse is the one you have made up your mind to live the rest of your life with. And because of that, you have to make adjustments, including mental adjustments, to love the person you are married to. So we see some people trying to prefer an ex to their spouse because of a certain thing, because of a certain trait, because of a certain behavior. You must know that everyone is not the same. People are different. So there is something that your spouse equally has that your ex does not have. So don't make your spouse feel like they are nobody or they are nothing because you have one particular trait or one particular behavior or one particular characteristic that you think your ex did better than your spouse. And never ever say such words. Alright, so as we go along the line, I'd like you to keep posting the points in the comment section. That way I know that you are following what I'm saying. So please do well. Post the first comment in the comment section so that I know that you are listening, and I'll be happy to join you. Another thing you should never say to your spouse is that your business or your career does not matter. Don't say to your spouse, your business, your career, what are you even doing with that business? What are you even doing with that career? What do you even think you're doing? How much has your career brought into this house? How much has your business brought into this house? Don't say to them, I'm the one who has sponsoring your business, sponsoring your career. Without me, your business or career will die. Your career, your business does not matter itself. You're just wasting time there. Such words should never, ever come out of your lips. All right, you should be human. You should be empathetic. This person, your spouse, not just this person, the person you are married to is making a lot of effort in his or her business, in his or her career. The least you can do is to encourage them. You cannot come and tell them your business or your career does not matter. Do you know how much effort they put into that work? Do you know how much labor they put into it? How much expertise? How much consultation they put into their business or their career to make it work? I had a situation of a particular woman who has been earning much more than her husband, and this woman came to the point where she had to tell her husband that your business does not even matter. Shouldn't you close down that business and look after the children? Imagine such words that kill the spirit. Such words that make someone to just give up on life itself. That shouldn't come out from your mouth. This woman felt she was earning too much. She felt she was making all the money, and because of that, her husband had to quit his business, leave his business, and come and babysit the kids. That is a wrong way to speak. That is a wrong thing to say. So don't ever come to the point where you tell your spouse that your business or your career does not matter. There are stories of men who look at their wife's business, the small business the wife is trying to manage, and then he begins to look down on her, cuss her out, speak bad words to her, make her feel like her business does not mean a thing. That shouldn't be the case, because when you do that, you are killing the person's spirit. You might think it's just about the business or about the career, but what you're doing invariably is like killing the person's spirit. You're killing the person's will to push. You're killing the person's desire to continue in that business, and that person will be discouraged, and that person will be sad, because nobody likes their efforts to be shown. Nobody likes their labor to be down, to be thrown away. All right. So no matter how it is, or how buoyant you are, or how wealthy you are, and you see your spouse struggling with a little business or struggling with a certain career, calm down and encourage them. Don't look down on them. Don't tell them their business or career does not matter. That is not the right thing to say to your spouse. All right. I know you may have seen that the person is not, your spouse is not managing his or her business well over time. I know it's possible that you have seen yourself putting in money into that business or career, but please, such a word should not come out from your mouth, because you may say I love him or I love her, but your words are killing him or her. So don't kill them. You may be the reason why they cry at night. You may be the reason why they get uncomfortable. So you cannot afford to kill their business that way, or kill their career that way, or kill them in their spirit that way. All right. Number 3 thing you should not say to your spouse is I hate your family. How about? I know they may have a record of doing a lot of terrible things. I know they may have a record of disappointing you, betraying you, all right, stealing from you, doing a lot of bad things, making you uncomfortable, and speaking down on you, or even outright insult to you. But that should not give you the effrontery to tell your spouse, I hate your family. No, you shouldn't do that. You should never ever open your mouth and say to your spouse, I hate your family. Because the moment you got married to him or to her, that family has become a part of your own family. They have become a part of your family. So why would you say, I hate your family? I know they may have a bad track record. I know that over time they may have done a lot of terrible, stupid things around you, but that should not make you to tell your spouse, I hate your family. Now, I know you may have cogent reasons. I understand that, but don't still tell them, I hate your family. Because let me tell you this truth, inside the heart of your spouse, irrespective of the fact that he or she understands why you may hate his or her family, he or she will never totally hate the family. Because as they say it, blood is thicker than water. Blood is thicker than water. And as long as blood is thicker than water, one thing is sure, they would still love those their erring parents, their erring siblings, all right? They will still love them that way. So you'll be wondering, why does he still relate with the family? Despite the fact that he knows I hate the family. Why would she still relate with the family despite the fact that she knows I hate her family? But see, the fact that he hates them does not remove the blood content from her or from him. So they still have blood attachments with this family, and because of that, blood is thicker than water. At the end of the day, what is going to happen is that this person, your spouse, will keep relating with their family irrespective of the hate. And one day, what you said will come to light, no matter how much they try to cover up for you. So don't ever open your mouth to say to your spouse, I hate your family. That shouldn't even come out from you. That shouldn't even be a word that you should say with your mouth. Don't hate their family, because you are now one with the family. You are now bonded with the family. And because you are bonded by marriage, because you have been joined to the family, you cannot afford to hate the family irrespective of what they have done. I know your reasons are cogent, but don't hate the family and don't say it with your mouth. Is that okay? All right. So number 4 thing you should never say to your spouse, number 4 thing you should never say to your spouse is, you can't do anything right. Is it because he made one mistake? Is it because she made one mistake? Don't tell them you can't do anything right. Don't tell your spouse you can't do anything right. I know they may have failed before. I know she may have done it wrong before. I know he may have wasted that money before, but still don't open your mouth and tell them you can't do anything right. Because every human being has something they do right. Let me say that again, so that you can hear it. Every human being has something they do right. Every human being has something they do right. So don't tell your spouse you can't do anything right, because there are other aspects of their lives that they are doing right, and as a matter of fact, that is why they are still even married to you. So if you know this, you cannot tell them you can't do anything right. I always tell people, especially those who are in a relationship, especially a marriage relationship, when you have issues with your spouse, don't attack the attitude, attack the behavior, not the personality. So attack what he has done wrong, attack what she has done wrong, but don't attack the person of your spouse. So what I mean by attack does not mean you should attack like you should start fighting them. No, speak against, act against, talk against what they have done, but don't characterize them with one error. Your spouse is bigger than one error. Your wife is bigger than one error. Your husband is bigger than one error. Don't make that single error their whole life statement. If you heard me, please type it in the comment section. Don't make their single mistake their life's statement. Don't make it the statement of their life. They just made a mistake. They just did one thing wrong. So don't make that single mistake look as if that is the entire statement of their life. Don't tell your spouse you can't do anything right. Don't tell that to your husband. Don't tell that to your wife, because they are certainly good at something. I want to encourage you. I know you can be provoked. We all are. I know you are human. I know you may have a temperament. You may be short-tempered, but please guard your words. Guard your words with due diligence, because the truth of the matter is that words said out cannot be taken back. And most times, the mouth speaks out of the abundance of the heart. And when you say that to your spouse, you may have said, I'm sorry, but then he or she will live to remember it for life, especially if they are the type of people that have a very photographic memory. So please be careful about the words that you dish out. All right, number 5 thing you should never say to your spouse is that marrying you is the worst decision of my life. Oh. Marrying you is the worst decision of my life. How could you say this to somebody you love, to somebody you say you are married to? You cannot tell somebody, your wife, your husband, you cannot tell your wife or your husband, marrying you was the worst decision I made. Listen to me. No matter how perfect you try to be, you have made several worst decisions. You have made several decisions that are not good, several decisions that are not good for your health, several decisions that are not good for your mind, several decisions that are not good for your spirit, man. And marrying them couldn't have been the worst. Marrying your wife couldn't have been the worst. Marrying your husband couldn't have been the worst. I know you said it in the heat of anger, but then I said before that out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. You cannot come to the point where you tell your spouse, your husband or your wife that marrying you is the worst decision I have made. Why? They are still human. They make mistakes. It is commonly said that to err is human and to forgive is divine. You have to make up your mind to forgive him or to forgive her for whatever they have done to you. I always tell people, please try not to make a permanent decision in a temporal condition. Don't make a permanent decision in a temporal condition. Don't be quick to just lash out words that you cannot retrieve back. Words that will live with your spouse for the rest of their lives. So please be careful. Don't say to your husband, marrying you was the worst decision I made. Don't say to your wife, marrying you was the worst decision I made. Please, I beg you in the name of God, hold your temper, hold your words. I usually advise married couples, when you are angry, say nothing and do nothing. Can you comment about it? Can you type it in the comment section? When you are angry, say nothing and do nothing. Let's say it one more time. When you're angry, say nothing and do nothing. That way you'll be sure you'll be free from error. Don't tell your spouse this. Marrying you was the worst decision I made. Why? And how? You must have made a lot of terrible decisions. Alright, so don't go ahead to say that. So let me know in the comment section if you're following and if you are enjoying this live session. Alright, number 6 thing you should never say to your spouse is this. Why can't you be like Mr. XYZ or Mrs. ABC? Let me say it again. Why can't you be like Mr. XYZ or Mr. ABC? Why are you comparing your spouse to another person? The Bible even makes us to understand that those that compare themselves with others are not wise. You cannot compare your wife to Mrs. ABC. You cannot compare your husband to Mr. XYZ. They are all different people. And as a matter of fact, if you get to live with Mr. XYZ for 1 week, you may be thinking of killing yourself. If you get to live with Mrs. ABC for 1 week, it is possible that you may give up on life or your mental health will be in jeopardy. Some of the things you see on social media are not as it seems. Some of the things you see people do are not as it seems. So don't kill yourself over a supposedly a smarter spouse, a supposedly richer spouse. He may be rich, but then he may be toxic. She may be beautiful, but she may be evil. So don't stay there and you are wishing to have married another woman, you are wishing to have married another man, you are telling your wife, please, can't you be like Mrs. ABC? I like her style, I like her dressing. If you don't like your wife's dressing, go and package her. If you don't like the way your wife dresses, please go and find out how best to dress her. Go to a boutique, let her wear things that make you feel good, things that you love to see her in. And if your husband is doing some certain things that you do not like and he's possibly behaving in a certain way, he does not dress well, you go ahead and dress your husband up. The truth of the matter is that the moment you guys step out, the moment you guys come out, people will really not know who dressed who up. Okay, so they look at both of you and they say you guys are looking amazing. They celebrate you, they look good, they tell you look good because both of you were able to package yourself in the secret. So I want to encourage you, Never say to your spouse, why can't you be like Mr. XYZ, or why can't you be like Mrs. ABC? That's the wrong way to live. Everybody has their different calendars in life. Everybody has their different time zones in life. Everyone has their different time of manifestation. That your husband is not rich today does not mean he won't be rich tomorrow. That your wife is not beautiful today does not mean she won't be beautiful tomorrow. As a matter of fact, I always tell people, women are not ugly. There is no ugly woman anywhere. Every ugly woman you see can be repackaged, can be rearranged, all right? The Bible tells us about Esther that for 6 whole months, she went through a body treatment. Do you think that if you decide to give a body treatment to any of our Niger ladies, that any one of them will turn out ugly? Do you think for one moment, just sit back and think, if we decide to give a 6-month comprehensive, everyday, steady body treatment to all these, the women, let me just talk about our Nigerian women. So our Nigerian women, do you think any one of them will come out ugly? They have a lot of stress, a lot of burdens, and you husbands are not making it easier. All right? So please don't criticize them because of how they look. Don't criticize your husband because of how much he has. If he does not have today, he can have tomorrow. All right? And you see some people who used to look very ugly, so to say, and then eventually they get wealthy and God blesses them and they begin to look good. Do you think what has happened is that money has modificated them, all right? The beautification they had is a beautification made possible by modification, all right? So please don't tell your spouse, why don't you be like Mr. XYZ or Mrs. ABC? So number 7 point, something you should never say to your spouse is, I don't care what you do with your life. Why are you saying that? I don't care what you do with your life. I don't care what you do with your destiny. You do care. You really do care. So why would you tell him, I don't care what you do with your life. I don't care what you do with your destiny. I don't care what you do with yourself. You do care. As a matter of fact, you should be the number 1 person that should care what he does with his life or what she does with her life. So please don't say words you don't mean. I said it earlier, mean what you say and say what you mean. Be careful about the words that come out of your mouth. Don't tell your husband, I don't care what you do with your life. Don't tell your wife, I don't care what you do with your life. You do care. You should care in every aspect. Care about their physical well-being, care about their spiritual well-being, care about their mental health, all right? Care about their mental well-being. So you should care for your spouse all around. Some issues may make you feel like what you are saying is necessary because your spouse has offended you, because he has made you angry or she has made you angry, but you really have to start caring. It is commonly said that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. You have to come to that point where you show your spouse, you show your husband or your wife that you truly care for them, that you are truly concerned about their welfare, that you are truly concerned about how they feel, about what they think, about their welfare. You have to show it. And when you show it, you have to mean it, okay? When you show it and you mean it. So this is very key. That you should know this, and that you should never come to the point where you begin to tell your spouse, I don't care what to do with your life, I don't care what to do with your destiny. I know you are angry, but don't ever make a permanent decision in a temporal condition, because he or she may have made you angry today, but certainly you'll be joyful tomorrow. So please remember the joyful moments and try to hold yourself. Self-control is key. Self-control was not given to the animals, but it was given to us as human beings, and we should be able to exercise and show that level of self-control when we speak. We should not say everything that comes to mind. We should not say everything that pops up in our mind, because if we do, we certainly don't have a marriage. Nobody will be able to endure consistent verbal abuse over a long time. So please, let's take note of that and do it. Number 8 thing you should never say to your spouse is, you don't satisfy me. You don't satisfy me. Oh, it's possible that there may be some element of truth in this. It is possible that there may be some situations that are showing and proving this point, but don't say it with your mouth. There are words that kill the spirit. There are words that when you say to a person, the person has no energy, no more motivation, no strength or zeal to continue. When you tell your husband or your wife, you don't satisfy me, What you're saying in essence is that you are not worth it. You are not enough for me. You are not sufficient for me. And no spouse wants to hear that. Now, am I saying you should deny the fact? No. It is possible that he or she does not satisfy you. Now, how you say it matters. So you cannot say, oh, because he or she does not satisfy me, I just have to say the truth. All right, I believe in saying my mind. Everybody knows this is how I talk. I just have to tell you the way it is. I'm not trying to cover the words. I'm not trying to paint the words. Please, when you're married, you should learn how to cover words. When you are married, you should learn how to paint words. You cannot open your mouth and say that. So let me give an example of what you can say. You can say to your spouse, honey, darling, I would want you to satisfy me more. All right? I would want you to satisfy me more. Now, he or she may just ask a question, a subsequent question like, don't I satisfy you enough? You say, no, you are doing a great job, but I believe we can improve on this. All right? The available room on earth, the room that is always available is the room for what? Improvement. You can just say it like that. Then he or she will understand that he is trying, but he or she just needs to do a little bit more. He or she needs to improve on what they are already doing. That way, he will be receptive. All right, he will be able to listen to you. He will be able to figure out ways to make it happen. And then, if it's your wife you're talking to, she too will be able to step up. She will not take it. She may not feel all right about it at the beginning, but certainly she'll be happy that you are able to open up, all right, and say what you really feel, what is really on your mind. So please, this is key. Don't tell your spouse, you don't satisfy me. Oh, honey, you don't satisfy me. I don't know what kind of wife I'm married. I don't know what kind of husband I'm married. No, that is not fair. That is not right. And that is not good to say to your spouse. Capish? Yeah. Number 9 thing you should never say to your spouse is you are wrong. A lot of us get satisfaction in saying that you are wrong. I know that sometimes they can be wrong. I know your husband can be wrong. I know your wife can be wrong. And sometimes I myself, I am wrong. I am not always right. In as much as I make a lot of right choices in life, I would not say that I'm always right. There are times I am wrong because I'm a human being. There are times I am obviously wrong because I did not calculate well, I did not see well, I did not organize well. I can be wrong. You can be wrong. Anybody can be wrong. But that does not mean that a spouse needs to voice it. That does not mean that a spouse needs to verbalize it. All right? That does not mean that a spouse needs to voice it. So please mind the words you say to your spouse. Don't say to him, look at you, you are wrong. I know there's a temptation to do that, but please don't do that. Especially if there was an argument, especially if there was before that time, people had argued on a particular thing, and then eventually you discover that he or she was wrong. Don't say you are wrong. You are wrong. See, in marriage, there are no wins, separate wins. There are no separate losses. Together as a spouse, you win, or together as a spouse, you lose. So you have to ask yourself, do we want to win as a team, or do we want to lose as a team? You can't win and then your spouse is sad and unhappy. You really didn't win. Because in marriage, there is this oneness. Oneness of everything. Unity of purpose. Unity of heart. You cannot be right and then she is wrong. You cannot be right and then he is wrong. So don't tell them you are wrong. Because you too are wrong by telling him you are wrong. You too are wrong by telling her she is wrong. So don't say you are wrong. Instead, what can you say? You can say something like, I wish we did it the other way. Or, we would have gotten this right if we did it the other way. That way, it is not, you are not focusing on your spouse. That way, you are making it look like it is our problem, okay? It is our challenge. We are doing this together. So this is something that is key. Every couple should learn it. Every couple should practice it. Every couple should understand it because it will greatly help their marriage. Okay? So don't tell your spouse you are wrong, and then you are wrong simply means that I am right. There are no winners. There are no victors. So together we win, or together we lose. Did you get that point? Also, let me comment about it in the comment section so that I'm sure you are grasping what I'm saying. All right, I'll read it up later. Number 10 thing you should not tell your spouse. Number 10 thing you should not tell your spouse is that you're not the only one that makes me happy. You're not the only one that makes me happy. Why would you tell your husband you're not the only one that makes me happy? Why would you tell your wife you're not the only one that makes me happy? Who else makes you happy? All right, I know they are not they are not in charge of your happiness. I know they are not the engineer of your happiness. I understand that, but do you have to say it? I told you, wars have been started with words that were not even serious. Wars have been started with words that were offensive and insulting. You don't have to add to the toxicity of the world. You don't have to add to the negativity of the world. All right, don't tell your spouse you're not the only one that makes me happy. You will begin at that moment, you begin to raise a consciousness of who else makes you happy. So you have said something without, and you don't know that you have said something else that you did not mean to say. So the moment you tell your spouse you're not the only one that makes me happy, do you know what he begins to think? He begins to think of, who else makes my wife happy? Who else makes my husband happy? And when you put yourself in that kind of tight fix, you begin to have issues. So when he begins to suspect you, don't blame him. When she begins to suspect you, don't blame her. Because you are the one who started it in the first place. By your words, by your utterance, you were able to let them know that they're not the only ones that make you happy, that there are other people out there who make you happy. And this may not be what you meant to say, but then out of anger, out of one explosive moment, you have said something you shouldn't have said in the first place. So please, zip your mouth. Zip. When you're angry, don't say anything. Keep your mouth shut, because you will not be judged by something you do not say. I want to encourage you. Make up your mind to have a beautiful marriage. Make up your mind to have a lovely marriage. You can make it. All right? You can make it. Don't tell your wife you're not the only one that makes me happy. You are just indirectly telling her that there are other ladies out there that you depend on for your source of happiness. And that's not fair. Not by any chance. That is not fair. So I want to encourage you, do well to say the things that you mean and mean the things that you say. Okay? So if you were enlightened by this particular point, let me know in the comment section and I'll follow through. All right? Good. Number 11 thing you should never say to your spouse is, I'm wasting my time with you. Uh-oh. Don't say that. I'm wasting my time with you. You're not wasting your time with him. You're not wasting your time with her. Also know that he or she who is in the same marriage with you is also making equal investment in time with you. He or she is also spending time in that marriage with you. He or she is also investing time in that marriage with you. So don't say, I'm wasting my time with you. Don't say words that break the heart. Don't say words that break a man's spirit. Don't say words that break a woman's spirit. Don't say words that make your spouse to roll up in bed and cry and weep and hate their lives. Some people you have heard that died, some of them died because they could not endure this kind of words from the people they got married to. How would you tell your spouse, I'm wasting my time with you? That's not right. That's not godly. That's not spiritual. That's not fair. That's not nice. So please don't tell your spouse, I'm wasting my time with you. You are not wasting your time. You are investing that time. And if you decide to do what is right in your marriage, if you decide to follow the right principles of marriage so that you can have a good marriage, you will see that time spent in marriage is not wasted. Rather, it is invested. I would like to say this again. Time spent in marriage is not wasted. Rather, it is invested. In my marriage, I would say that every single time I have invested has worked out for me super good. Not because we are saints, not because we came down from heaven, not because he's a bishop and I'm a pastor. No, this investment in time has paid off big time, because we have agreed to follow the laid down principles for a beautiful marriage. We have decided to follow the laid down principles for a godly marriage. That is why it is key. If you want to enjoy it, follow the principles. Principles are a set of fundamental beliefs. Principles are a set of guiding rules that when you follow them, you are sure what the result will be. Like the principle of gravity, when you throw anything up, that thing must come down. It's a principle. And it doesn't matter who you are or where you're coming from or your background or your family or your gender. One thing is sure, it works everywhere. It works for everyone. So that is why you cannot tell your spouse, I'm wasting time with you. You are not wasting the time, rather you are investing time with him, you are investing time with her, and those times invested will eventually yield in beautiful children, it will yield in advancement in life, it will yield in discovery of purpose, it will yield in several areas, you're right, in expansion, in flourishing, in fruitfulness all around. So please don't tell your spouse, I'm wasting my time with you. Don't say that to him, and don't say that to her. Never say such a thing to your spouse. Number 12 thing you should never say to your spouse is, I'm ashamed to be seen with you. This one makes me feel like crying. I'm ashamed to be seen with you. Wait, how would you say such a thing? How would you say such a thing to a lady you married, to a man you married? How? Why? What has he done to deserve that? What has she done to deserve that? Never say to your spouse, I'm ashamed to be seen with you. For some, you may be saying that because you feel she's unkept or you feel he's ugly, but there is no reason, there is no justifiable reason on earth why you should say such a thing to a fellow human being. No justifiable reason. Worse still, maybe because he had an accident or she had a born, and because of that, you are no longer proud to be seen with them. See, there are some things that are worse than that. Don't open your mouth. Never open your mouth to tell your spouse, I'm ashamed to be seen with you. If he or she does not dress well, help them dress well. You who know how to dress well, package them well. If he or she has a born, an accident, understand that it could have been you. This issue could have happened to you. All right? There is no one who holds a monopoly over life. No one is in charge of life. No one is in charge of the circumstances and the happenstances in life. If you're ashamed of him that he has an accident, he has a broken hand or a broken leg, understand that you could have been the one with the broken hand or the broken leg. If you're ashamed of her that she had a burn, maybe from the kitchen while she was still making food for you, understand that you could have been the one that was with that burn, and anything could have burnt you. And she would have still stood by you if you were the one who experienced such a thing. I want to beg your indulgence. I want to crave your indulgence. Please learn how to be empathetic. Sometimes leave your selfish nature and for once be selfless. And for once be empathetic. And for once see things from another person's perspective. We most times just look at ourselves, think about ourselves, become narcissistic, but we cannot remain like that. We have to understand that there are other people around us in our lives, in our marriages, who really do care for us, and not kill them with words and not say things that will hurt them greatly. How would you tell him, I'm ashamed to be seen with you? How would you tell her, I'm ashamed to be seen with you? No matter how bad it is, there are people who have a worse situation and they're making their life good. You remember Kechi, who survived a plane crash. Surviving a plane crash is no small thing. As a matter of fact, let me tell you this. In some ancient civilizations, she would have been termed a goddess to have survived a plane crash, because it is humanly not possible for somebody to just survive a plane crash. But she survived it. So, you may not like her, but she likes herself. She believes in herself. And she's doing great. She's doing great. She's loving herself. She's putting herself out there, discovering her purpose, fulfilling life and destiny. And yet, no one who hates how she looks deserves her. No one who hates how she looks deserves her, because what happened to her could have happened to anyone. And believe you me, if we were to choose between death and looking that way, we will all choose looking that way, because the life she has now is a gift to her. It's a gift. It's a gift. How many of you know Nick Vujicic, all right? Vujicic, I think that's how it's pronounced. He's an evangelist, all right? Evangelist Nick. He was born without his feet and without his hands. And yet he's everywhere preaching the gospel. He's married, happily married to a beautiful wife, and they have kids. Kids who have complete hands and complete legs. And they're fulfilling life and fulfilling destiny. How bad is it that you open your mouth and tell your spouse, I'm ashamed to be seen with you? These are words you should never, ever speak. All right? I hope I have emphasized that enough. All right. Number 13 thing you should never say to your spouse is, can't you take care of yourself? Can't you take care of yourself? See, I know you are his wife. I know you are her husband. But don't treat them like they are babies, all right? They made a decision, an adult decision to marry you. They made an adult decision to spend the rest of their days with you. So, I don't know what could have warranted that kind of ugly statement, but please don't tell them, can't you take care of yourself? It's possible they've been making wrong choices, very possible. It is possible that they have in the past not done it well. But please, instead of using that kind of word, can you rephrase it and say, I'd like you to take care of yourself better. I'd like you to take care of yourself for me. That shows love. That shows you care. That shows that shows you are concerned about them. So don't say, can't you take care of yourself? Can't you take care of yourself? You did this, you did that. Look at how you're looking. Look at how you're smelling. Don't. Remember, they are full-blown adults and they actually made a decision to spend the rest of their lives with you. I know. I'm not enabling bad behavior. Don't say I'm enabling bad behavior. They should know how to take care of themselves. I know that. But then there are times that something could happen. Maybe maybe your spouse is sick. Maybe your spouse is not able to do certain things for him or herself. Don't tell them, can't you take care of yourself? Imagine a particular woman whose husband has been bedridden and then he pulled on himself because he could not really help himself. And she's now shouting on him, can't you take care of yourself? Why would you do this? Why would you be punishing me and stressing my life like that? Nobody chose that situation. Nobody chose that predicament. You may have somebody in your life or around you that is behaving that way. Nobody made that choice. All right? So don't tell your spouse, can't you take care of yourself? I'm the one feeding you. I'm the one birthing you. I'm the one providing for you. I'm the one. I know you are the one, and I know you are doing a lot. But can you use better words? Can you use nicer words? All right? So please, if you do this, you have a very good marriage, and then it will also help your spouse to do better, to live better. All right? Number 14 thing you should never say to your spouse is, I'm too busy for you. Mr. Busy, Mrs. Busy, I know you have a lot on your plate. I know you wear many hats. I know you are needed there and needed there and needed everywhere. But please remember that you made a choice to marry. And the moment you decided to marry, that means that somebody else owns a portion of your life. Somebody else owns a portion of you. The Bible says that so the body of the man is no longer his, but that of his wife. And the body of the wife is no longer hers, but that of the husband. Don't say, I'm too busy for you. You may be a preacher man or a preacher woman, having engagements everywhere, preaching everywhere, ministering everywhere. And then you feel because of the accolades, because of the celebrations, because of the way people receive me, because of the effigy and the effects and all of that, I am too busy for my spouse. Don't come to that point. Jesus knew better. He knew that those who came for fish and bread will one day leave. And he invested heavily on the 12 disciples. Invest in your spouse. Invest quality time in your spouse. Don't say you are too busy for them and don't be too busy for them. Give them the time due to them. Make room, intentionally create time. Take your wife out. This is November. I know some of you, because of Corona, because of COVID-19, you have stylishly refused to take your spouse out, and you are here looking at me and I'm looking at you. I'm watching you. I'm seeing you. Some of you have refused to go on a date with your spouse and you think it is right. Okay, so because of COVID-19, you're using the COVID scare to scare your spouse. Make out time for him. Make out time for her. Spend that quality time. All right, make them happy. Make them just spend time saying some sweet nonsense. Okay, some sweet nothing. It's key. It's key because it will make your marriage strong. It will make your marriage durable. It will make your marriage stand. And this is very, very important because if you do this, it will help your marriage greatly. And it will make your marriage to be solid and be strong. Okay? And finally, the final thing, on the 15th thing you should never say to your spouse is, I know you will not agree, but I want to do this. Why would you do that? I know you've had past experiences where you tried to do something and he didn't let you, right? You had past experiences where you wanted to do something and she didn't let you, right? And because of that, you have made up your mind. I know you will not agree, but I want to do this. So you are not making it look like it is not a joint agreement anymore. You are making it look like whether he wants or he does not want, you are still going to have your way. That is not right. You should never say that to your husband. You should never say that to your wife. You should never say that to your spouse, okay? So, if you want to do something and you think they may not agree, just state what you want to do. Honey, I really like you to agree with me on this. Darling, I really like you to agree with me on this. There is this thing I want to do, and these are my reasons for doing them. Because sometimes why he or she says no is that they don't understand why you have to do what you want to do. All right? They don't understand why you have to do them. They don't have sufficient reasons. So sit down, make your research so that when you come to them with those ideas, you can comfortably say, honey, darling, sweetheart, whatever you call yourselves, I really want to do this because of that and that and that and that. And when you state those points, the reasons why, I say, I would really be encouraged and excited if you stand with me on this. See, words are everything. With words, cities have been merged. With words, palaces have come together. With words, nations have gone into war. So please choose your words carefully. Know what to say and know what never to say. So in this episode, I have 15 things you should never say to your spouse. Hopefully, because I can see some people asking me, what are the 15 things you should then say? In the next episode, I'll be sharing with you 15 things you should say to your spouse. Now I have told you 15 things you should never say. It will be right for me to create another episode where I'm able to tell you the 15 things you should also say to your spouse. So look out for me on this timeline. Look out for me on this channel. I'll be right back the next episode with 15 things you should say to your spouse. I hope you were blessed today. I hope you were thoroughly enriched today. I hope you've learned a few things here and there, and I'm glad you stood with me. Thank you for watching all through to the end of the video. I'm excited you did. And until we meet again, keep making a positive, indelible mark in the lives of people and on the sands of time. Cheers. I love you.